Like the last model, Bentley's new Continental GT has been designed, developed and engineered to crush continents. But as well as doing the long distance thing, the British car maker says this car makes for a far better sports car too. So since this is best of British and all, we thought we'd take it to some of the best roads in North Wales. As usual, we've rocked up and it's raining. But you know what? That's probably to the advantage of this big Bentley because it's all-wheel drive. Now, the British car maker claims this car is 100% all new. And for once, it's not kidding. So the new Continental GT sits on Volkswagen Group's new MSP platform that was developed by none other than Porsche. One thing that hasn't changed over the old model is it's quite wide and it's quite tricky to thread down these really narrow Welsh roads. The biggest difference to the outgoing car, well actually let's go back to the outgoing car. The first generation Continental GT sat on the Volkswagen Phaeton chassis, which was, well, let's face it, a limousine. It was never designed to be a sports car. But this platform is totally different. This platform underpins cars like the Porsche Panamera. One thing that hasn't changed about the Continental GT is it's still seriously fast. This car can hit 100 kilometers per hour in just 3.6 seconds. That's supercar quick. Top speed, meanwhile, is an unbelievable 326 kilometers per hour. So we've driven some of the best roads in North Wales, and this car is far less compromised than the old Continental GT. Throw in some twisties and you can really push hard. In fact, it defies its curb weight. But you know what? We need to take this on a serious road trip to test out its GT credentials. It's ironic that some of the things that make the Continental GT such a good sports car, well, it kind of hampers it in other places. Like right here, we're driving through a suburb of Sheffield and the 8-speed dual clutch automatic, well, it just isn't as smooth as a conventional torque converter. In fact, sometimes it dishes up some quite rude down changes. Another place where the Continental GT suffers is its ride. I guess there has to be some sort of payoff for those flat level cornering, and around town it's where you feel it. It jiggles over some surfaces and it really shouldn't, should it? This has a 3-chamber air suspension. I was expecting this to ride, well as an S-Class, but it simply doesn't. One area it really is impossible to fault the big Bentley is in its interior. I mean, it's here you can appreciate the levels of craftsmanship that you can see at the factory. I mean, the split wood dash is absolutely beautiful and the piano black, faultless. I mean, it's wonderful. I love all this chrome, these knurled dials here, beautiful. But then it really should be, because the costs involved here are astronomical. I mean, the split wood, that's a sort of $5,000 finish. The revolving infotainment system, it's a real cute trick for your mates, $12,000. The stereo costs $17,000. I mean, you can really personalise and bespoke this Bentley to your heart's content, but you will pay for it. Another place the Conti GT excels is on the highway, and we're cruising along here at around a European 110 kilometers per hour, and it's a tranquil, quiet, calming place to soak up the kilometers. We have a few gripes. Despite there's things like double glazing, you can hear quite a lot of tyre noise, but I guess that's what happens when you use huge 21-inch rims like the ones we're running on. But other than that, yeah, at 100 kilometers now, the engine's turning over at around 1,000 RPM. So what a pleasant place to be. So there we have it. After 24 hours and 700 kilometres of the Bentley Continental GT, we've travelled from the west coast of Wales to the east coast of England and now find ourselves in Skegness. Now what can we say about the car? Well, do you know what? This is the consummate GT. In fact, I'd say this is better than the Aston Martin DB11 and feels far more special than something like a Porsche 911 Turbo. 2 years ago when we were last in the UK, we said the Aston Martin DB11 was truly the best of British, and I think the same accolade can go to the Bentley Continental GT.